What's up, you fire-breathing dragons? Welcome back to the Todd, Durkin Impact Show. I have a real treat for you today. I recently had the opportunity to speak to a great group of rising juniors and seniors, and even some graduating seniors as well, from South Whitby, Washington, the state of Washington. And I had a chance to give them a Get Your Mind Right Meets Impact talk. Now, these were some students. They're 15, 16, 17, and 18 years old, and they were fired up to hear the talk. And what I want to do today is give you a little glimpse behind the scenes, because parents, if you're a parent who has a high school kid, you know that these are not easy times, right? We got to get our kids' minds right, and some of the kids are going off to school, and some of them are rising up to the next level. And if you're a kid listening in, right, you're battling like heck to get back into your activities, your sports, your dance, your music, your band, your acting, whatever it may be. But the bottom line is this: today I talk all about impact. And I don't care if you're 17 years old, if you're 27, 47, or 87 years old. It's always about getting your mind right and living with impact. Without further ado, let's go out and listen to a little bit of the talk to my friends at South Whitby High School, the Falcons of South Whitby, Washington, right now. Well, hey, congratulations, everyone. I'm just going to spend a few minutes here talking to you about life and school, and I have some questions. Use the chat room, by the way. If you've got any questions for me anytime, just so you all know, as Ms. Cable was just saying, I'm down in San Diego, actually. I own a gym here called Fitness Quest 10. I've been doing this for, a little longer than most of you, well, all of you have been alive, because I've been doing it for 20 plus years. And it's my passion. It's my purpose. When I was your age, when I was in college, when I was in high school and then college, trying to figure life out, it was like, man, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? What's my purpose in life? And you're trying to figure it out now while you're in high school. And I first want to congratulate all of you for the success you've had in this crazy last year. Because if you're anything like me and my kids, I've got 3 kids, they're 18, 16, and 13. Man, it's been a crazy year. And for you to get through what you got through and have such great grades, your leadership, your character has been of the utmost. That's why you're in the Honor Society. It's huge tip of the hat. And it's tough, but you got through it, or we're getting through, almost there. And I got 6 things I want to share today, 6 things that I believe can help you with your success and your significance. But I want to see this as long as you're not driving right now, because some of y'all are driving. And if you're 16 or 17, I got a question for you. You got to answer A or B. I want to see in the chat room, A or B. A is this. Out of everyone I'm talking to right now, A is you want to become rich and famous. So put it in the chat. I want to become rich and famous. I'm talking you want to be a millionaire. You want to buy a mansion. You want to have 1 million people on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Put A in the chat room if that's what you want. That's cool, by the way. If you want to become rich and famous, say, hey, Coach Todd, I want to become rich and famous. That's cool. Or B is I want to be happy. I want to be full of joy, less anxiety, no depression. I want to be successful and significant. I want to create impact. Oh, we got a lot of B's coming in the chat box. No A's? No A's? So I don't want to talk about becoming rich and famous, buying mansions and becoming millionaires and fancy cars. If you want A, I'm going to talk about that too. But I got a lot of B's. Or it's both. You want to do both. You want to be successful, you want to be significant. Well, regardless if it's A or B, my hope is that we find more joy, more peace, more love. We can be happier with our lives. And as you discover here in your young lives, that as you think about, man, what's my purpose? Why am I here on earth? What am I supposed to do? That you have this talk, hopefully, because I know Ms. Cable's been talking to you a lot about it as well, is, man, how do I reach success and significance in my life? Because let me remind you of something, is that you've got gifts inside of you that no one else has. As you look around here in the Zoom box, we got 40 plus students looking in. I want to remind you as a coach, as a trainer, as a speaker, as an author, someone who's always about how do I create more impact, is that there's gifts inside of you that the world is needing and deserving. There's people in your school that need more of you with a positive voice. So there's 6 things that I'm going to share to help you be most successful and most significant as well. And it's summed up in an acronym. An acronym, like, yo, wait a second, I learned that in school. What's an acronym? Acronym is what's on my shirt. It says impact. I.M.P.A.C.T. This is what it stands for. Write it down if you're taking copious notes. Otherwise, in the chat box, anytime you got questions, feel free to drop it in. I is live inspired. I is inspired. Live inspired. So let me ask you, and please, in the chat box, I want to make this interactive. I'll go to you if we've got an opportunity later on, is how do you live inspired today? In a world right now that's so full of darkness and there's hate and it's tough times and there's anxiety and sometimes you're sitting in your room, you're on these Zooms some days in class when you're not in school. I want to remind you to dream big. And yeah, I know many of you have dreams and aspirations to go to college and you want to do great things, fantastic. Whatever your dreams are, whether it goes back to being rich and famous or you want to be full of joy, happiness, peace, love, harmony, fulfillment, is how do you do that? Living inspired, whether you're in high school, college, whether you're one of my pro athletes that I train, you're an executive or leader I work with, comes down to this: habits. What are your habits? What are your best habits? What are your worst habits? Now, I gotta tell you this, even as a coach, as a trainer, someone who works with the best athletes in the world, is all habits when it comes to training, nutrition, what you're doing. So what are some of let me ask you this, what are some of your worst habits? Put it in the chat box. Who's brave enough? I might even give away a gray hoodie, Miss Cable, to one of these great students. A gray hoodie. Now, they don't understand yet what a gray hoodie stands for, but when you get the gray hoodie on, you talk about get your mind right. The gray hoodie will get that mind right. But your worst habits, for me, like many of you, and again, I've got three kids that are students as well, like you. What are your worst habits? Number one, scrolling on social media could be a bad habit. Like even me on my Instagram, it's like, man, 15, 20 minutes. You just sucked out 20 minutes of life potentially if you're on Snapchat, TikTok, whatever it may be. That could be a habit that, man, I got to clean that up. Nutrition, your eating is a habit of like, man, I got to clean it up because when I'm bored at home and I'm on school and it's not always what I want, maybe you're eating like garbage, or maybe you're not exercising and you know that, man, I need to exercise. I need to go for a walk. I need to go for a jog, but I just feel like garbage. I'm not even motivated to get motivated. Has anyone ever been there? Like, I'm not even motivated to get motivated because I feel like garbage. Because I don't care if you're 15 or you're 25 or you're 55, whatever. Sometimes you're not even motivated to get motivated to train, exercise, to think right, all of these things. So let me ask you this, because thank you for staying up late, easily distracted, sleeping in, procrastinating. All of these are, quote, habits. Now, we can correct all these because they're choices that we can make with that. But I know for all those bad habits, there's also some good habits. And let's acknowledge those right now. What are some of your best habits that you're doing? What are some of the great habits that you're doing right now? Because if you can double down on your habits that are good, all of a sudden you get momentum in your life. And all of a sudden, boom, I start doing better in school. The summer's going to be coming. You're going to be like dialed into that. So what is that? Your best habits. Listening to podcasts. By the way, just raise your hand. Anyone listen to podcasts? Anyone raise your hand? Okay, good. You ever see the reaction right here, by the way? Down, raise hand. Ooh, raise your hands. Very good. Look at that little reaction time. Like, oh, I know that one. So, podcasts are fantastic. Why? Get your mind right. Attending church, great habit. Getting spiritually nourished and fed if you're attending church or synagogue, whatever your faith is. Prayer time, quiet time, meditation time is a good habit when you're getting think time. Because if you got anxiety, you got stress, you got depression, all of that stuff is real these days. Is how do you do that? Another good habit. Who you hanging out with, right? Who you hanging with? Who are your friends, who are your pals on the weekends, who you hanging out with at the house? And man, you get the bad habits, drinking. I got a lot of kids I coach, football and other sports. They got into smoking a lot of weed over this pandemic. And some of you are like, man, like that's real. And you know friends that is real. Hopefully it's not you, but let me tell you what, if it is, then reach out to someone, a buddy, a pal, a girlfriend or a guy friend, and say, man, I'm struggling with this habit. Let's clean it up. Because who you hang out with is absolutely essential. Now in high school, it will be crucial in college, and it'll be crucial for life, whether you want to be rich and famous or full of joy, success, and significance, whatever it is, it's all about habits. Habits. So that's living inspired. Next, M is master your craft. Say master your craft. Master your craft. Master your craft. There you go.
Master your craft.
I like that. So here's the thing. Whatever you want to do in life someday, because some of you want to be artists, some of you want to be doctors, lawyers, you want to go into, be firefighters and police officers, you want to own your own business, whatever it is, master your craft is going to take hard work. Like a lot of hard work. Like for those of you like, man, Coach Todd, I stay up till 11 o'clock and I'm studying, I'm dialed in. Good, congratulations. You're just learning the habits, what it's taken to be successful someday. And that's going to be what's going to transfer into your career someday so you can get the edge and be in the upper 1% of the world that's going to be able to give back to society that's so desperately going to need that. Let me tell you a story. There's a guy that I've been training for 18 years, longer than most of you have been alive. His name is Drew Brees. Drew is a quarterback, just retired. If you're a sports fan, you probably know the name Drew Brees. I know you all know Russell Wilson. He's up your way. He's down in San Diego right now. But Drew just retired. I trained him for 18 years. Here's a story of Drew. And people are like, why is Drew great? What made him a future Hall of Famer? When I showed up to the New Orleans Saints, he was a quarterback for the Saints for many years, the facility, on a Friday before a game against the Chicago Bears. This was a few years ago. I show up on a Friday at 4 o'clock. There's two cars in the parking lot.
In progress.
There's only 2 cars in the parking lot. One of those was Drew Brees. Drew was in there watching film of the opponent, Chicago Bears, when no one else was around. All the other guys went to get their haircuts. They met their families. And there's Drew at the facility. No one else around. I looked and turned to my kids. At the time, they were a little bit younger. They were just beginning high school and middle school. I said, listen, we can turn around and go home to San Diego right now. And the lesson is this. I don't care how good you are in school, in life, in your career. Hard work never stops. Practice never stops. If you want to be the best at what you do, you got to have a tenacity to work your tail off called master your craft. So whatever your craft is going to be, you're working on it now. You're learning all the practices. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here because y'all are at the upper echelon within your school at South Whitby. But like, what's it going to take? The next aspect, live inspired, master your craft, is this. Play at world class. Play at world class. Here's what I always say to my athletes. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. Now, your mind right is UR or YO. Get your mind right. Can you all say, get your mind right? Because every single day, you should be saying to yourself, get your mind right. Get your mind right. Because every single day, you got to get your mind right. When you wake up, most of you aren't going to wake up and be like, whoo, yeah, I feel like $1 million today. Let's go to school. I'm so excited to go to school. This is great. Everything is fine and dandy. Oh, life is awesome. I know most of you aren't jumping up for joy like that. And guess what? In the morning, when I first get up, I'm not either. When I wake up in the morning, it's literally snap that band. It says impact. Snap the band and get into the habits of doing what needs to be done to make sure that I can dial the mind right. So when I say play at world class, that's get your mind right. Get your mind right. What are you doing to get your mind right? Get your mind right. Here's the thing with playing at world class to get your mind right. I want you to adopt the philosophy 1% better every day. What can you do today on this day right now to be 1% better? On a deeper question, how do you get your mind right when your mind ain't right? You're like, woo, that's deep. Let me repeat that. How do you get your mind right when your mind ain't right? So if your mind ain't right, you're like, man, coach, man, I'm in honor society. I got a good family, but I'm struggling. Guys and gals, boys and girls, listen up. It's a battle. And you got to fight. You literally got to fight. Listen, one of the guys I trained, his name is Mike Chandler. Maybe you don't follow the UFC, but Mike is a fighter in the UFC, which is the highest league in the fight world. And Mike, I've been training Mike for 7 years. And Mike just rose up, if you follow it, he had a championship fight for the lightweight championship of the world. And he fought this dude over, it was in the States, but this guy's from Brazil. And Mike won the first round. I mean, he almost knocked the guy out. As a matter of fact, he was just about to knock the dude out, and he had a split-second thought. This is 2 weeks ago. He's like, oh, my God, I'm going to win the championship. And he didn't finish the dude off. Next round, Mike came out, and he got caught and got knocked out and lost. Monday morning, this was Saturday night, Monday morning, he gets on social media. shows up, battered, black eye, and he says this: adversity is your advantage. Sometimes in life you get knocked out and knocked down, but what are you going to do when the chips are down? Let me ask you, maybe right now you've been knocked out, knocked down, you're feeling like you've been flurried, you're in a funk, you're in a hole. Yeah, school's going good. Again, I know I'm preaching choir, but sometimes inside some things are stirring and ain't right. Let me just be a voice to remind each and every one of you that you are special. You're born to be special. There's gifts inside you that the world does need to hear. So when I say get your mind right, what's it going to take? You're going to have to move your body. You're going to have to exercise. You're going to have to tell a friend the truth and tell your brother or your sister, either your true brother or sister or a friend of yours, like, hey, here's the truth. Everything on the outside is great, but on the inside, I'm crumbling. I got so much anxiety and depression creeping up on me. I don't even know who to turn to. That's real talk. Because it's real in life. So when I talk about Mike Chandler, a friend and client of mine, what do? It goes back to your habits again. Do yourself a favor. Watch good videos on your phone. Be careful what's coming in. That's why they call it your feed. What's in your feed? What's on the Instagram? What's on your TikTok? Who you watching? What are you watching? And if you're like, I don't know, well then, as Ms. Cable probably mentioned, I was on this show called Strong. It's now on Netflix. So if you guys get Netflix, check it out. It's called Strong. And did you talk about that, Ms. Cable, at all? Did you talk about? Okay. Yep. So if you have not watched it, check it out. It's good. It's good TV. They took 10 trainers. I was one of the 10. And they took 10 females. And us trainers had to pour into these girls and try to change their life. And it's pretty good TV. You'll have to see it again. It was on NBC, and it's crazy, but it'll get your mind right. That's for sure. Next, live inspired, master your craft, play at world class. Next is A. What does A stand for? Action. Action. What actions are you taking today to be the best version of yourself? Let me ask you this. If you want to get to another level in life, what you got to do is you got to serve other people more than you are now. See, when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, many times we think the world revolves around us. But the secret in life is to learning how to serve people unequivocally so that you can serve them. And whether it's philanthropically, whether you find an organization that you want to give back to, that's near and dear to your heart, whether it's in your church or another organization, maybe it's you want to volunteer coach if you're involved in sports, or if you're in music or acting, you want to give back to the organization that you were once part of when you were a small boy or girl. Who can you give back to? Who can you serve? How do you help the other kids in your community? Because now they look up to you as juniors and seniors in your community. What can you do? Because ultimately, once again, it comes down to your choices, because your choices determine your consequences. And your consequences are your life. So that if you choose, and all of you know, and if you don't, you will in the next year or two, if you're drinking or you're using drugs, smoking weed, sooner or later, consequences happen. Guys, I just hopefully not you, but you will. I've had high school friends when I was in high school die of drunk driving accidents. People OD. I had one down here in San Diego recently, a friend OD. It doesn't matter if you're 17 or you're 47. This is real stuff. So what do you want? And be real. What do you want out of life? Only you can make the choice. Only you can determine, you know what, here are the actions I'm going to take, because ultimately your actions in school, in sports, in band, whatever activities, it's about, hey, listen, if you chose A earlier on and you're like, hey, Coach Todd, I want to be a millionaire. Cool. Fantastic. Then let me tell you how to be a millionaire. Start right now studying how to make $1 million. Start studying investing. Start studying economics. Look at the feed on economics. Listen to podcasts like Gary Vaynerchuk, who's talking about this all the time. Listen or read books on tape, guys like Darren Hardy that talk about the compound effect. That if at age 16, 17, or 18, you get into a Roth IRA, or heck, even Fidelity just opened up a kid's account, or you get a Morgan Stanley account, and you start getting into a financial institution, you're like, hey, I can start to make money at a young age, so that the compound effect over time, now I'm in my 20s and 30s and 40s, you get up to Mrs. Cable and my age, you're like, man, you're doing pretty good, because you started that way back when in high school. Those are habits. Those are actions. If that's something that you want to do, maybe you do. Or maybe you say, you know what? I did choose A. I do want to be rich and famous, or I want to have a mansion someday. Then guess what? Start studying real estate now. Study guys like Brian Buffini, who's a real estate mogul. He's a coach to real estate executives and coaches, a coach to coaches. because you potentially want to make wealth in real estate. You're like, well, how does this involve me? I'm in high school. Because I'm saying if you're passionate or you have interests or hobbies that you want to get to somewhere, your actions have to line up to that. So start looking at that now. Like maybe you want to get into commercial real estate or regular real estate for homes right now, residential real estate on that. But when you do that, what's it gonna take for you to be the best in the world at what you do someday? Yes. Most likely you're going to go to college. You're going to get a degree. But how are you going to separate yourself from everybody else? And if you were like, when I talked about TikTok and all of the other social media platforms earlier on, including YouTube, what's it going to take to get to 1 million followers or 100,000 or 10,000 or 1,000 or 100, whatever it is? Just remember this. Social media, think of it as servant media. How do you serve more? How do you serve more positivity? How do you put out into the world who you want to impact and get in their heads, their minds, their bodies? So what are you doing to serve people through social media? Because social media is dangerous. Y'all know that. You look at the DMs, it all goes down the DM. I love that song, by the way. It all goes down the DM. Is when you look at social media, I'm going to ask you the question of, think of it like servant media. How can you serve your friends more? The people that are on your IG or your Snapchat or your TikTok, how can you serve them? Just because you're, doing what everyone else is doing, that doesn't make you cool because in high school you want to be cool. I get that. But how can you be a beacon of change? How can you be that change that it's going to take? So serve more. And are there people right now who are robbing you of your mind? Or your heart or your soul because of what they're saying to you, what they're DMing you. And maybe that's not you, but maybe it's your pal next to you and there's this going on in the DM and maybe it's sucking the living life out of you. So whatever it is, I challenge you, I implore you, I encourage you on your social media to use that as a platform to serve others. Not only in your communities, but nowadays you can connect with anyone. You can DM me on IG later on. I'm going to see that in a matter of minutes. As long as I'm not strolling, because that's a bad habit, right? But the biggest thing with social media is FOMO. Right? FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, if I'm not scrolling. Listen, if you want to do good in school and you want to continue doing good in school, then be careful of having that phone next to you when you're studying tonight at 8, 9, 10 o'clock because you're like looking at the Snapchat text popping up or the IG post that just came through because you got your notifications turned on or whatever else. So that's all about action. Action, action, action. Next, C stands for condition for greatness. Condition for greatness. Well, condition for greatness, guys, I could talk for hours on this, but I'm only going to talk for a few minutes. And here's what I want to get out, and please drop it in the chat box if you want to when it comes to conditioning for greatness. I got 5 points when it comes to nutrition, just 5. Now, you're in high school, so bear with me. Number 1, I'm going to talk down, get with you now because you all understand. Number 1, hydration. If you got water with you right now, please drink it. Right now, have a little sip of water. Because most of us, 90% of us are dehydrated. Half your body weight in fluid ounces of water. Well, how much is that, coach? Well, do the math. If you're 150 pounds, half of that is what? 75 ounces of water a day. It's probably double what you're drinking now. You can't function, think clear. You're going to have brain fog if you don't have hydration. Drink more water with that. Number 2, eat breakfast. Eat breakfast. That's the second rule. Eat breakfast. Now, realize this. Eating breakfast does not constitute cereal with a cartoon figure on the box. They are laughing like, if it's got a cartoon figure on the box, it doesn't count as breakfast. I'm talking eggs, I'm talking oatmeal, I'm talking maybe avo toast, whatever it may be. But if it's got a cartoon figure on the box, no, that ain't breakfast. Number 3, a salad a day. 1 salad per day, that's greens. Look at all those laughs. Good, I saw your teeth. If you're happy every now and then, you got to smile, right? Good, there you go, I like that. So, salad per day is number 3. 4, eat every 4 to 5 hours. Oh, coach, you got me on that one. I can't eat every 4 to 5 hours. If I do that, I'm gonna blow up. I'm gonna gain 20 pounds. No, you won't. Because most people go 6, 7, 8 hours of not eating, and that messes up your metabolism, which is your engine. It's your burning inside of you. So you got to speed that up. So if you're eating every 4 to 5 hours, small portion sizes more frequently will help you get there. Eat every 4 to 5 hours. And lastly, number 5, no soda. Ooh, coach, you're crazy. Yeah, every now and then I am a little cray-cray. But if you can give up soda, I'm just talking, guys, if you want to get to the best of like, I feel good, my mind is right, my body feels healthy and good, then you got to give up the sugar water. And the soda stuff is not good. You can replace it, just keep drinking, pounding the water. That's going to be good. So that's part of conditioning for greatness. The other part two of that is what? Exercise, training. Now, not all of you are athletes. That's fine. But you should be moving your body most days of the week. Here's what I say. 20 minutes of cardio, 4 times a week minimal. 20 minutes of cardio, four times a week. That could be a walk around the block with the pup. Could be going out for a jog or a run if you enjoy that. But when you get out and you move your body, all of a sudden you start feeling good. So if you're down, you got to get out and move. Get outside. It's beautiful up there in the great Northwest. Get outside. All of a sudden what happens is endorphins are released in your brain. They're 10 times more powerful than morphine. 10 times more powerful than morphine. Endorphins get released. All of a sudden you're like, boop, I start feeling good. So if you get out for a 20-minute walk, that's all you do, you're going to be feeling better. Now, if you want to amp it up one notch, number 2 is do a little bit of resistance training twice a week. Twice a week, can you do some resistance training? And even just body weight. Push-ups, squats, lunges, dips and planks. Bench dips for your triceps and some planks for your core, stomach and your back. You do that, 20 reps each, 3 times through of push-ups, squats, dips and planks. There's 4 exercises. Man, I'm telling you, you're going to feel better. You're going to start to see some results. You're going to be stronger. So those are 2 things. And the last thing is, from a training standpoint, is get on a program, an actual program for 30 days. Follow a program and you're like, Coach, I have no idea. Then hire a trainer. Listen to Miss Cable she's a fitness freak. She knows what she's talking about. But find a program that you can actually do for 30 days. And I promise you, if you do those aspects, your conditioning for greatness, your mind, your body is going to be amped up, and it's going to help you in school. It's going to help your dreams get bigger and bigger. Last point. I'm going to open up for questions. So if you have any questions on anything I'm talking about, please fire away either in the chat box, or we'll talk about them later. I see this coming through here. Fantastic. Number 6, in impact. Live inspired, master your craft, play at world class, take action, condition for greatness, and T is be tenacious. Tenacious. SAT word, by the way. Tenacious. Tenacity. Tenacity is the fervor, the spirit, the energy, the positivity, the optimism that all of us want to have. We all want to feel better. We want to be more optimistic. We don't want to live into the quagmire of mediocrity or even the depths of despair down below. We want to be looking up. Well, how do you do that? How do you get to that spot? I call it contagiasm. Contagious enthusiasm. Contagiasm is contagious enthusiasm. It's energy, it's positivity that you show up when you're in school, live or virtual. All of a sudden your eyes are clear and your friends see that in you. Well, that's going to take work, because stepping back to live inspired, that's going to be back to habits again. So how do you live with that light, that positivity, the energy, where you can be the energy maker? You can be the energy creator, not the energy sucker, but the energy maker on that. So attitude is everything. Let me end with this. Remember I was talking about that TV show called Strong? It's on Netflix now. I want you all to watch it, and you can DM me what you think later on. But let me tell you something. As we end here today, is on that show, you're going to see me go for $500,000, $500,000. Guys, that's a lot of money. I don't care how old you are, what you do for a living, but $500,000 is a lot of money. Week 3, I lose the competition with my girl that I was paired with. I come home to San Diego. This is all filmed up in Malibu, California. Come home to San Diego, and I'm jacked up. I laid it on the line. I hurt my shoulder, my back, my knees are all killing me. And I'm home for a few days, and the producer of the show, his name is Sylvester Stallone. Now, I don't know if you know the name Sylvester Stallone, but for me, that was my boyhood hero. That was Rocky Balboa. If you've never watched Rocky IV, mandatory watching. You got to watch Rocky IV. It'll fire you up. But Sylvester Stallone is the producer of the show. He says, hey, Todd, I need you back up to Malibu. You got to have an opportunity to get back into the game. I'm like, Sly, I can't get back into the game. I'm jacked up. My body hurts. I'm done mentally. I'm done. He's like, no. I need you back up here. Get back up here. Get a chance to get back in the game. Now, here's what happens. Maybe some of you can relate. That day, we're supposed to compete to get back in the game. And I wasn't going to compete because I was hurt. And all of a sudden, all the other people who were still in the game for $500,000, I hear them hedging their bets on what trainers are going to get back into the game. I never once heard my name. I start to get irritated and ticked off. They're saying Drew. They're saying these other guys' names on the show, but I never heard Todd. So all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? This is messed up. They don't think I get back in the game. So I decided to myself that day, I'm like, I'm going to compete tonight. I don't care if I lose. What's the worst that happens? I lose. Big deal. You lose. It's part of life. Get over it, right? All right. All of a sudden, that night, and you'll see the show, episode 5. Episode 5 is when it gets real. This is what happens, a little preview. They tell us we got to climb this 4-story tower with all these crazy obstacles in there. Like, I look at these obstacles, and this is my face. Check this out if you're not looking. I go like this. Like, how am I going to get to the top of this tower, let alone win it with all these other trainers? All these guys are in their 20s and 30s, are jacked up dudes. I'm like, there's no way. And one of the other trainers, he turns to me, and this is what he says. He goes, don't forget who you are. You're Todd freaking Durkin. And I went like this. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot who I was. I'm Todd freaking Durkin. Boys and girls, what I want to tell you today is every now and then put the freaking between your name and say freaking. Don't say any other name. That's the word. Freaking is the, put it between your name, because every now and then you forget who you are. In this pandemic, some of you got your butts kicked. You didn't have your sports. You didn't have your activities. You couldn't see your friends. You couldn't go out and socialize, party, do what you want. You couldn't have fun. And you forget who you are. But let me tell you something. When you look in the mirror tonight, remember there's mom and dad. And hopefully you still have a mom and dad in your life. Some of you probably don't. Okay? My father, unfortunately, left me when I was just 20 years old on that. Look in the mirror tonight. Remind yourself who you are and put the freaking between your name. Let me remind you there's a strength and power inside of you that sometimes you forget about. Because when that trainer reminded me, one of my mentees who I mentored for many years, he reminded me of that. Guess what I did? I went out and won that competition. I get back in the game. Week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9. I'm winning all of it. All of a sudden, I'm playing for $500,000. Why? Because, yoo-hoo, yeah, the mind was right. Just when you think you're at the lower lows, sometimes when you're just holding on, you're like, man, does anyone like me? I don't know if I'm accepted in that peer group. I don't know if I fit in here at this school. I don't know if I want to go to this college. But if I do that, mom and dad aren't going to approve of that decision of where I want to go to college someday. Listen, remind yourself of who you are. Put the freaking, and I don't care if you're 17 or someday you're going to replay this or listen to one of my podcasts. And remember who you are, because you're going to forget. You will forget someday. I promise you, if it's not today. Remember who you are. Put the freaking between your name. That becomes your middle name, by the way. Okay, that becomes your middle name. From now on, you tell your mom and dad, hey guys, mom and dad, I replaced my middle name. It's now freaking. So just tell mom and dad when you learn that Miss Cable brought this crazy guy in to talk to me, and I changed my middle name, mom and dad, is to freaking. That you blame it on me. Y'all are laughing. And all of a sudden, you're going to find this strength and power inside of you that you didn't even realize you had. So as I end today, let me tell you this. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. You get your mind right. You live inspired. You master your craft. You play at world class. Get it right. You take action for what you want, your dreams and your desires. You condition for greatness, your body, your mind, and your soul. And then you play with the tenacity that's necessary to win in life. And all of a sudden, you're going to say this. Yoo-hoo, yeah. Get it right, get it tight, and get your mind right. And go create impact. I don't even know you guys, and I love you. I'm here for you. You need me, you reach out to me. DM me. I check my DMs. But I want you to know you have one heck of a teacher there, Miss Cable. Reach out to her. Reach out to your peers. And know that we're going to get through this. And together as fellow brothers and sisters, I want you to keep battling, keep fighting, keep up the great work in school. And whatever it takes, know that we got this. Love you guys. Peace and God bless you all. Thank you. Man, oh man, was that a lot of fun. Folks, I want to tell you this. It was so awesome to connect with those young souls today, talking about impact, something near and dear to my heart. But I thought about this. What if one of those kids, just one of them, was struggling today? What if one of them's in a hole? What if one of them's depressed and they're in the National Honor Society? They're the star on their sports team, but inside they're crumbling. There's anxiety, there's depression. What if just one of them needed to hear that? Then my purpose was complete. For you right now, as we end today's show, I want you to remember that every single conversation that you have today counts. Every conversation at work, at home, in the store, whatever you do, I want you to think about how you live with I.M.P.A.C.T. I.M.P.A.C.T. Live inspired, master your craft, play at world class, take action, condition for greatness, and be tenacious. How do we take that spirit, that energy, that fervor from this podcast today and pay it forward with every single conversation? And let me end by saying this. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing these episodes. Thank you for showing up even the days you don't feel like it. You're struggling, you're challenged. You're like, man, I don't even feel like going to work. I don't even feel like doing this today. But here you are. You're listening to get your mind right. So for that, I say thank you for showing up every single day and continuing on with the battle. Until next time, remember, train hard, eat right, live inspired, and go create impact today. God bless you all, and I love you.